He's gonna use mine. There's an extra printed upstairs.
Yeah, it's not binder. This looks nice. This is good. We can share.
Now, how are we going to pick up Emily's stage directions if we're sharing this mic?
I guess she's the third person sharing the mic, right?
Yeah.
Just sit here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll sit here and then you project into the mic.
No, I'll walk over.
Can we begin?
Let's get, it's 3:29. Let's just give 1 minute. And yes, people can be walking in. But yeah, we should. I made a PowerPoint and QR code on it. I cast extras.
The other senior, remember he told us it's senior.
It is senior for me for one, and then
You're just one roll. You are the
Just
yes.
No, Keith's doing that.
No, he is.
Oh, you are?
He's doing the news.
happy to do more.
I thought Keith was doing it.
I arranged it so that Keith and Jess could just get to sit.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was going to introduce him and him.
Perfect. Do you want us to step to the sides while you do the introductions?
Yeah,
Just
why
so we're
are
not
you
awkward.
doing the thanks? What are you doing? What is this?
I'm apparently reading the Duke.
Oh, yeah, you're reading the
Yeah.
Duke. Yeah. No, I meant the introduction.
Oh, no.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. I think we're going to get started. People may still be coming in. That's fine. This is a work in progress. We are here with the Untitled Othello ensemble. Keith Cobb, Hamilton Cobb, and Jessica Burr, and Dr. David Sterling Brown, who has been working as the dramaturge on this project. They've been here since fall 2021, on and off, and hopefully some of you have seen and been in the room working with them. So this time they're going to read, straight through without stopping to talk about things. But we are going to put a QR code up there, which has some questions, really general. If you want to give us feedback later about how you think about the play, that would be wonderful. And without further ado, I'm just going to invite Keith Hamilton Cobb to come up and say a word or two, and then we'll get going because it is a Shakespeare play that we're reading, and they're long.
Hey there, I'm Keith, and I thank you all for showing up. On behalf of the ensemble, I'd like to thank some other people. I'd like to thank Dean Mark Beakey of the College of Arts and Sciences for running behind this project for its life thus far. I'd like to thank my colleague and associate director, Jessica Burr, and her theater company, Blessed Unrest Theater, which is a partner on this project. I would like to thank Midnight Oil Collective, which is one of, I would say, the organization that has been with this project and me the longest from its inception. They are based around Yale in New Haven. So they're not here, no need to clap for them. but I wanted them to see themselves recognized. I have a piece of paper, and I need to use it to recognize the students who are taking part because I did not remember their names. But we have Angelica Zaccarola, Brianna Marr. On the other end, we have Joseph Dunn and Colleen DiGennaro. And if I may, the rest of the cast, starting here on this end, is Aaron Zook, Michael Patrick Sullivan, Heather Benton, Stephanie Hodge, Robert Manning Jr., Josh Tyson, Terrell, Donnell, Sledge, Tina Harper, Welland Scripps. I would also like to thank one of our first private donors, Kevin and Audretta Brown, who were the first people to take an interest in this and give us money. But their biggest donation to our project is their son, Dr. David Sterling Brown, who is a scholar of early modern race studies at Trinity College in Hartford. And so thank you. I'm grateful to have you. We've been looking at this play, as the professor says, for over a year and a half. It's a troublesome play. We've been looking at it both as literature and what happens when you try to perform that literature, and what messages it sends to the world in its perpetuation as a piece of theater fraught with issues and dilemmas that we continue to face and need to sort out. That work is messy. That work at this juncture, not that far into the process when you think about how long it could take to really come to some conclusions about these questions, it manifests in something that is itself very, very, very messy and undone. So what you're getting today is something messy and undone. We probably will not get to the end of it. One, because we don't want to keep you that long, and two, because we have not had the time and the wherewithal to study the ending in a way that would give us something that we feel at all satisfactory as a community about. So that's where we are. We'd like to just read this for you and see how it makes you feel. And I thank you all for being here. I did not mention Dr. Bauer and Dr. Gillespie, but they have been on board with this too from the beginning. I didn't know if you were going to step back up and introduce them, but thank you.
Hush! Never tell me. I take it much unkindly that thou, Iago, who hast had my purse as if the strings were thine, shouldst know of this.
Blood, but you will not hear me. If ever I did dream of such a matter, abhor me.
Thou toldst me, thou didst hold him in thy hate.
Despise me if I do not. 3 great ones of the city, in personal suit to make me his lieutenant, off cap to him. By the faith of man, I know my place. I am worth no worse a place. But he, as loving his own pride and purposes, evades them with a bombast circumstance horribly stuffed with epithets of war, and in conclusion, none suits my mediators. For certes, says he, I have already chose my officer. And what was he? Forsooth, a great arithmetician, one Michael Cassio, Florentine, but never set a squadron in the field. No, the division of a battle knows more than a spinster. Mere prattle without practice is all his soldiership. But he, sir, had the election. An eye of whom his eyes had seen the proof at Rhodes, at Cyprus and other grounds, Christian and heathen must be belied and calmed by debtor and creditor. This countercaster, he in good time must his lieutenant be, and I, God bless the mark, his moreship's ancient.
By heaven, I rather would have been his hangman.
Why, there's no remedy. 'Tis the curse of service. Preferment goes by letter and affection, and not by old gradation, where each second stood heir to the first. No, sir, bejudge yourself whether I am unjust and fiend, a fine to love the more.
I would not follow him then.
Oh, sir, content you. Follow him to serve my turn upon him. We cannot all be masters, nor all masters cannot truly be followed. You shall mark many a duteous and knee-crooking knave that, doting on his own obsequious bondage, wears out his time much like his master's ass for not the provender. And when he's old, cashiered. Whip me such honest knaves. Others there are who, trimmed in forms and visages of duty, keep yet their hearts attending on themselves, and throwing but shows of service on their lords, do well thrive by them, and when they have lined their coats, do themselves homage. These fellows have some soul. Such a one do I profess myself. In following him, I follow but myself. Heaven is my judge, not I, for love and duty, but seeming so for my peculiar end. For when my outward actions doth demonstrate the native act and figure of my heart in complement extern, 'tis not long after, but I will wear my heart upon my sleeve for daws to peck at. I am not what I am.
What a full fortune does the thick lips owe, if he can carry it thus.
Call up her father. Rouse him. Make after him. Poison his delight. Proclaim him in the streets. Incense her kinsman, and though he in a fertile climate dwell, plague him with flies. Though that his joy be joy, yet throw such changes of vexation on't, as it may lose some colour.
Here is her father's house. I'll call loud.
Do, with like a timorous accent, and...
Brabantio! Ho!
Awake! What ho, Brabantio? Thieves! 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 Look to your house! Your daughter and your bags! Thieves! Thieves!
Brabantio appears at the window above. He's
What
an
is
older
the
man.
reason of this terrible summons? What is the matter there?
Signor, is all your family within?
Are your doors locked?
Why, wherefore ask you this?
Zoon, sir! You're robbed! For shame! Put on your gown! Your heart is burst. You've lost half your soul. Even now, very now, an old black ram is topping your white ewe. Arise, arise, or else the devil will make you a grandsire of you. Arise, I say.
What, have you lost your wits?
Most Reverend Senior, do you know my voice?
Not I, what are you?
My name is Roderigo.
A worse are welcome.
Sir,
I have charged thee not to haunt about my doors. In honest plainness, thou hast heard me say, my daughter is
sir,
not for thee. And now in madness, being full of supper and distempering draughts upon
Sir.
malicious bravery, dost thou come to starve
Sir.
my quiet. But thou must needs be sure my spirit and my place have in them power to make this bitter.
Patience! Good sir.
Thou, what tellst thou me of robbing? This is Venice. My house is not a grange.
Most grave, Brabantio, in simple and pure soul, I come to you.
Zoon, sir! You are one of those that will not serve God if the devil bid you. Because we come to do you service and you think we are ruffians, you'll have your daughter covered with a Barbary horse. You'll have your nephews neigh to you. You'll have your corsets for cousins and jennets for Germans.
What profane wretch art thou?
I am one, sir, that comes to tell you your daughter and the Moor are now making the beast with two bags.
Thou art a villain!
You are a senator.
This thou shalt answer. I know thee, Roderigo.
Sir, I will answer anything, but I beseech you, if it be your pleasure and most wise consent, as partly I find it is, that your fair daughter, at this odd even and dull watch of the night, transported with no worse nor better guard, but with a knave of common hire, to the gross clasps of a lascivious Moor. If this be known to you and your allowance, we then have done you bold and saucy wrongs. But if you know not this, my manners tell me, we have your wrong rebuke. Do not believe that from the sense of all civility, I thus would play and trifle with your reverence. Your daughter, if you have not given her leave, I say again, hath made a gross revolt, tying her duty, beauty, wit, and fortunes to an extravagant and wheeling stranger of here and everywhere. Straight satisfy yourself. If she be in her chamber or your house, let loose on me the justice of the state for thus deluding
Call
you.
up all my people. This accident is not unlike my dream. Belief of it oppresses me already. Light, I say, light!
Farewell, for I must leave you. Seems not meet for wholesome to my place to be produced, as if I stay I shall against the Moor. For I do know the state, however this may gall him with some check, cannot with safety cast him, for he's embarked with such loud reason to the Cyprus wars, which even now stand in act, that for their souls another of his fathom they have none to lead their business. In which regard, though, I do hate him as I do hell pains, yet for necessity of present life I must show out a flag in sign of love, which is indeed but sign. That you shall surely find him, lead to the Sagittary, the rays its search, and there will I be with him. So farewell.
It is too true an evil. Gone she is, and what's not to come of my despised time is not but bitterness. Now, Roderigo, where didst thou see her?
Saw her
Oh,
down at
unhappy girl, with the Moor, sayest thou?
Most
Who would
gladly.
be a father?
That
How didst thou know 'twas she?
Well,
Oh,
she-
she deceives me past thought. What said she to you?
She didn't say anything.
Raise all my kindred! Are they married, think you?
Truly, I think they are.
How got she out?
I
No
don't.
treason of the blood. Fathers, from hence trust not your daughters' minds by what you see them act. Is there not charms by which the property of youth and maidhood may be abused? Have you not read, Roderigo, of some such thing?
Oh, yes, sir. I have indeed.
Call up my brother! Oh, would you had had her. Some one way, some another. Do you know where we may apprehend her in the moor?
I think I can discover him, if you please, to get good guard and go along with me.
Pray you lead on. At every house I'll call, I may command at most. Get weapons, ho! And raise some special officers of the night. On, good Roderigo, I'll deserve your pains.
Brabantio and the small but growing retinue exit into the night. More carry flashlights than carry weaponry.
Though in the trade of war I've slain men, yet do I hold it very stuff of the conscience to do no contrived murder. I lack iniquity sometimes to do my service. 9 or 10 times I had thought to have yerked him here under the ribs.
'Tis better as it is.
Nay, but he prated and spoke such scurvy and provoking terms against your honor, that with the little godliness I have, I did full hard forbear him. But I pray you, sir, are you fast married? He will divorce you or put upon you what restraint and grievance the law, with all his might to enforce it on, will give him cable.
Let him do his spite. My services, which I have done this signory, shall outtongue. I fetch my life and being from men of royal siege, and my demerits may speak unbonneted to as proud a fortune as this that I have reached. What lights come yond?
Those are the raised fathers and his friends. You had best go in.
Not I. It's they.
Janice, I think so. I think no.
Cassio enters with a small retinue of soldiers.
The servants of the Duke and my lieutenant. The goodness of the night upon you, friends. What is the news?
The Duke does greet you, General, and he requires your haste post-haste appearance, even on the instant.
What is the matter, think you?
Something from Cyprus, as I may divine, and many of the councils raised and met are at the Duke's already. You've been hotly called for when, being not at your lodging to be found, the Senate hath sent about 3 several quests to search you out.
'Tis well I am found by you. I will but spend a word here in the house and go with you.
Ancient, what makes he here?
Faith, he tonight hath ordered a land garrick.
I do not understand.
He's married.
To whom?
Come, Captain, will you go?
Have with you.
Here comes another troop to seek for you.
It is Brabantio, General. Be advised, he comes to bad intent.
Signor, it is the Moor.
Down with him, thief!
Good senior, you shall more command with your years than with your weapons.
Oh, thou foul thief! Where hast thou stowed my daughter? Damned as thou art, thou hast enchanted her, for I'll refer me to all things of sense, if she in chains of magic were not bound, whether a maid so tender, fair, and happy, so opposite to marriage that she shunned the wealthy curled darlings of our nation, would ever have to incur a general mock, run from her guardage to the sooty bosom of such a thing as thou, to fear not to delight. Judge me the world, if 'tis not gross incense that thou hast practiced on her, with foul charms, abused her delicate youth, with drugs or minerals of that weaken motion, I'll have it disputed on. 'Tis probable and palpable to thinking. I therefore apprehend and do attach thee for an abuser of the world, a practicer of arts inhibited and out of warrant. Lay hold on him. If he do resist, subdue him at his peril.
Where will you that I go to answer this your charge?
'Tis till prison, till fit time.
What if I do obey? How may the Duke be therewith satisfied, whose messengers are here about my side, upon some present business of the state, to bring me to him?
'Tis true, most worthy senior, the dukes in council and your noble self, I am sure, is sent for.
Ah, the Duke in council? In this time of night? Bring him away! Mine's not an idle cause. The Duke himself, or any of the brothers of the state, cannot but feel this wrong as twere their own. For if such actions may have passage free, bond slaves and pagans shall our statesmen be.
A council chamber in the hall of the Venetian Senate at 2:20 a.m. The Duke, the senators, and attending military officers are gathered around a long table.
There is no composition in these news that gives them credit.
Indeed, they are disproportioned. My letters say 107.
And mine 140.
And mine 200. But though they jumped not just on a just account, they all confirm a Turkish fleet and bearing up to Cyprus.
Nay, it is possible enough to judgment. I do not so secure me in the error, but the main article I do approve, in fearful sense.
A messenger enters in haste.
Now, what's the business?
The Turkish preparation makes for roads, so I was bid report here to the state.
How say you by this change?
This cannot be. By no essay of reason. 'Tis a pageant to keep us in false gaze. When we consider the importance of Cyprus to the Turk...
Nay, in all confidence, he's not for roads.
Here is more news.
An officer enters.
Reverend and gracious, steering with due course toward the Isle of Rhodes, have there enjointed them with an after fleet.
Aye, so I thought. How many, as you guess?
Of 30 sail. And now they do re-stem their backward course, bearing with frank appearance their purposes toward Cyprus. Senior Montano, your trusty and most valiant servitor, commends you thus and prays you to relieve him.
'Tis certain, then, for Cyprus.
Here are Brabantio and the valiant Moor.
Valiant Othello, we must straight employ you against the general enemy Ottoman. Marcus, Lucius, is he not in town?
He is now in Florence.
Write from us to him, post haste dispatch. I did not see you. Welcome, gentle signor. We lacked your counsel and your help tonight.
So did I yours. Good your grace, pardon me. Neither my place nor aught I heard of business hath raised me from my bed, nor doth the general care take hold on me. For my peculiar grief is of so floodgate and o'erbearing nature that it engluts and swallows other sorrows, and it is still itself.
Why, what's the matter?
My daughter! Oh, my daughter!
Dead?
Aye to me. She is abused, stolen from me, and corrupted by spells and medicines bought of mountebanks. For nature so preposterously to err, being not deficient, blind, or lame of sense, sans witchcraft could not.
Whoe'er he be that in this foul proceeding hath thus beguiled your daughter of herself, and you of her, the bloody book of law you shall yourself read in the bitter letter, after your own sense, yea, though our proper son stood in your action.
Humbly I thank your grace. Here is the man, this Moor, whom now it seems your special mandate for the state affairs hath hither brought.
We are very sorry for it.
Othello has not looked up from the table a second time. He's studying the maps and perusing the letters that purport the Turkish movements to Othello.
What, in your own part, can you say to this?
Nothing but this is so.
Potentissimi, gravi, irreverendi signori, my very noble and approved good masters, that I have ta'en away this old man's daughter. It is most true. True, I have married her. The very head in front of my offending hath this extent no more. Rude am I in my speech, and little blessed with the soft phrase of peace. For since these arms of mine had 7 years' pith, till now some 9 moons wasted, they have used their dearest action in the tented field. And little of this great world can I speak, more than pertains to feats of broil and battle, and therefore little shall I grace my cause in speaking for myself. Yet, by your patience, I will a round unvarnished tale deliver of my whole course of love. What drugs, what charms, what conjuration, and what mighty magic, for such proceeding I am charged withal, I won his daughter.
A maiden never bold, of spirit so still and quiet that her motion blushed at herself, and she, in spite of nature, of years, of country, credit, everything, to fall in love with what she feared to look on. I therefore vouch again that with some mixtures powerful o'er the blood, or with some dram conjured to this effect, he wrought upon her.
To vouch this is no proof without more wider and more overt test than these thin habits and poor likelihoods of modern seeming do prefer against him.
But Othello, speak. Did you by indirect or forced courses subdue and poison this young maid's affections? Or came it by request, and such fair question as soul to soul affordeth?
Send for the lady to the sagittary, and let her speak of me before her father. If you do find me foul in her report, the trust, the office I do hold of you, not only take away, but let your sentence even fall upon my life.
Fetch Desdemona hither.
Ancient, conduct them. You best know the place. Until she come, most justly I'll present how I did thrive in this fair lady's love, and she in mine.
It is a judgment maimed and most imperfect that will confess perfection so could err against all rules of nature, and must be driven to find out practices of cunning.
Say it, Othello.
Her father loved me, oft invited me. Still question me the story of my life, from year to year, the battles, sieges, fortunes that I have passed. I ran it through, even from my boyish days, to the very moment that he bade me tell it, wherein I spake of most disastrous chances, of moving accidents by flood and field, of hair-breadth escapes in the imminent deadly breach, of being taken by the insolent foe and sold to slavery, of my redemption thence, importance of my travailous history, wherein of Antris vast and deserts idle, rough quarries, rocks, and hills whose heads touch heaven, it was my hint to speak, such was the process. And of the cannibals that each other eat, the anthropophagi, and men whose heads do grow beneath their shoulders. This to hear would Desdemona seriously incline, but still the house affairs would draw her thence, whichever as she could, with haste dispatch, she'd come again, and with a greedy ear devour up my discourse, which I, observing, took once a pliant hour, and found good means to draw from her a prayer of earnest heart, that I would all my pilgrimage dilate, were by parcels she had something heard, but not intentively. I did consent, and often did beguile her of her tears, when I did speak of some distressful stroke that my youth suffered, my story being done. She gave me for my pains a world of sighs. She swore, in faith 'twas strange. 'Twas passing strange, 'twas pitiful, 'twas wondrous pitiful. She wished she had not heard it, yet she wished that heaven had made her such a man. She thanked me and bade me, if I had a friend that loved her, I should but teach him how to tell my story, and that would woo her. Upon this hint I spake. She loved me for the dangers I had passed, and I loved her that she did pity them. This only is the witchcraft I have used. Here comes the lady. Let her witness it.
Good Brabantio, take up this mangled matter at the best. Men do their broken weapons rather use than their bare hands.
I pray you hear her speak. If she confess that she was half the wooer, destruction on my head if my bad blame light on the man. Come hither, gentle mistress. Do you perceive in all this noble company where most you owe obedience?
My noble father, I do perceive here a divided duty, To you I am bound for life and education. My life and education both do learn me how to respect you. You are the lord of duty. I am hitherto your daughter. But here's my husband. So much duty as my mother showed to you, preferring you before her father, so much I challenge that I may profess due to this man, my lord.
God be with you, I have done. Please set your grace on to the state affairs. I had rather to adopt a child than get it. Come hither more.
Othello doesn't move. Brabantio, with his daughter by the arm, goes to him.
I here do give thee that with all my heart, which but thou hast already with all my heart. I would keep from thee for thy sake. Jewel. I am glad at soul I have no other child, for thy escape would teach me tyranny to hang clogs on them. I have done, my lord. I humbly beseech you, proceed to the affairs of state.
The Turk, with a most mighty preparation, makes for Cyprus. Othello, the fortitude of the place is best known to you, and though we have there a substitute of most allowed sufficiency, yet opinion throws a more safer voice on you. You must therefore be content to slubber the gloss of your new fortunes with this more stubborn and boisterous expedition.
The tyrant custom, most grave senators, hath made the flinty and steel couch of war my thrice-driven bed of down. I do agonize a natural and prompt alacrity I find in hardness, and do undertake these present wars against the Ottomites. Most humbly, therefore, bending to your state, I crave fit disposition for my wife, due reference of place and exhibition with such accommodation and besort as levels with her breeding.
If you please, be it at her father's.
I'll not have it so.
Nor I.
Nor would I there reside to put my father in impatient thoughts by being in his eye. Most gracious Duke, to my unfolding, lend your prosperous ear, and let me find a charter in your voice to assist my simpleness.
What would you, Desdemona?
That I did love this man to live with him. My downright violence and scorn of fortunes may trumpet to the world. My heart subdued, even to the very quality of my lord, and to his honors and his valiant parts did I my soul and fortunes consecrate, so that, dear lords, if I be left behind a moth of peace, and he go to the wars, the rights for which I love him are bereft me, and I a heavy interim shall support by his dear absence. Let me go with him.
Let her have your voices. Vouch with me, heaven. I therefore beg it not to please the palate of my appetite, but to be free and bounteous to her mind. And heaven defend your good souls, that you think I will your serious and great business scant, for she is with me.
The hesitance in the room remains palpable.
When light-winged toys of feathered Cupid seal with wanton dullness my speculative and officed instruments, that my disports corrupt and taint my business, let housewives make a skillet of my helm, and all in dine and base adversities make head against my estimation.
Be it as you shall privately determine, either for her stay or going. The affair cries haste, and speed must answer it.
You must away tonight.
Stanotte, Othello.
This night.
With all my heart.
Othello, leave some officer behind, and he shall our commission bring to you, with such things else of quality and respect as doth import you.
So please your grace, my ancient, a man he is of honesty and trust, to his conveyance I assign my wife, with what else needful your good grace shall think to be sent after me.
Let it be so. Good night to everyone. And, noble signor, if virtue no delighted beauty lack, your son-in-law is far more fair than black.
Adieu, brave Moor.
Look to her, Moor, if thou hast eyes to see. She has deceived her father, and made thee.
Desdemona attempts to intercept her father before he exits, but he goes out of his way to avoid her without a further word, leaving her standing awkwardly alone. Othello has dismissed the old man with a wave and traverses the rest of the space to confer with Iago, speaking almost over him as he exits.
Iago, my Desdemona must I leave to thee. I prithee, let thy wife attend on her, and bring them after in the best advantage. Come, Desdemona.
I have but an hour of love to spend with thee.
We must obey.
Iago, what will I do, thinkst thou?
Go to bed and sleep.
I will incontinently drown myself.
If thou dost, I shall never love thee after, thou silly gentleman.
It is silliness to live, when to live is torment. And then have we a prescription to die, when death is our physician?
I have looked upon the world for 6 times 7 years, and since I could distinguish betwixt a benefit and an injury, I never found a man that knew how to love himself. Ere I would say I drown myself for the love of a guinea hen, I would change my humanity with a baboon.
What should I do? I confess it is my shame to be so fond, but it is not in my virtue to mend it.
Virtue a fig! 'Tis in ourselves that we are thus or thus. Our bodies are our gardeners, to which our wills are our gardeners. The balance of our lives had not one scale of reason to poise another of sensuality. The blood and baseness of our natures would conduct us to most preposterous conclusions. But we have reason to cool our raging motions, our carnal stings, our unbitted lusts, whereof I take this that you call love to be a sect or a scion.
No,
it is merely lust of the blood and the permission of the will. Come, be a man. Drown thyself. Drown cats and blind puppies. I have professed myself thy friend, and I confess me knit to thy deserving with cables of perdurable toughness. Could never better steed thee than now. Put money in thy purse. Follow thou the war. I mean, it cannot be that Desdemona should long continue her love to the Moor, nor he his to her. It was a violent commencement, and thou shalt see an answerable sequestration. These Moors are changeable in their wills. The food that to him now is as luscious as locust shall be to him shortly as bitter as Colinquintina. She must change for youth. She must. When she is sated with his body, she will find the error of her choice. She must have changed. She must. Therefore, put money in thy purse. If thou wilt needs damn thyself, do it a more delicate way than drowning. If sanctimony and a frail vow betwixt an erring barbarian and a supersubtle Venetian be not too hard for my wits and all the tribes of hell, thou shalt enjoy her. Pox on drowning thyself. Seek thou rather to be hanged in compassing of thy joy than to be drowned and go without her.
Wilt thou be fast to my hopes, if I depend on the issue?
I have told thee often, and I retell thee again and again, I hate the Moor.
You hate the Moor, yeah.
My cause is hearted. Thine hath no less reason. Let us be conjunctive in our revenge against him. If thou canst cuckold him, thou dost thyself a pleasure, me a sport. There are many events in the womb of time which will be delivered. But traverse, go, provide thy money. We will have more of this tomorrow. Adieu.
Adieu. Where shall we meet in the morning?
At my lodging.
I'll be with thee betimes.
Go to, farewell.
What say you?
Do you hear, Roderigo? No one talking drowning. Do you hear?
No, I am changed.
Roderigo exits.
Thus do I ever make my fool my purse. For I mine own gained knowledge should prevain if I would time expend with such a snipe, but for my sport and profit. I hate the Moor. and it is thought abroad that twixt my sheets has done my office. I know not if it be true, but I, for mere suspicion in that kind, will do as if a surety. He holds me well, the better shall my purpose work on him. Cassio's a proper man. How?
The island of Cyprus, a fortress garrison that overlooks the sea, a war room. It is approximately 2 p.m. and 12 days have passed. An intense storm rages. Cyprus is under Venetian occupation in a theater of war. The garrison is rough-hewn, ungentle, and crawling with military personnel. In all such places there are Cypriots, some who align with the occupiers, others who do not, and some that cannot be distinguished one way or the other so easily. They are all here. The territorial struggle has been going on for some time. The war room is bustling. We discover Montano and 2 soldiers scanning the seascape for vessels, ostensibly from behind a large glass fourth wall.
What from the Cape can you discern at sea?
Nothing at all. It is a high rock flood.
Methinks the wind hath spoke aloud at land. A fuller blast ne'er shook our battlements. If that the Turkish fleet be not sheltered and embayed, they are drowned. It is impossible to bear it out.
News, sirs. Our wars are done. The desperate tempest hath so banged the Turks that their designment halts. A noble ship of Venice hath seen a grievous wreck and sufferance on most part of their fleet.
How? Is this true?
The ship is here put in, the Veronessa. Michael Cassio, lieutenant to the warlike Moor Othello, is come on shore. The Moor himself...
He is a worthy governor.
And is in full commission here for Cyprus.
I'm glad.
But this same Cassio, though we speak of comfort touching the Turkish loss, yet he looks sadly and prays that the man be safe. For they were parted with foul and violent tempest.
Pray heavens he be, for I have served him, and the man commands like a full soldier.
As Montano speaks, Cassio enters, wet and attended.
Thanks you, the valiant of this warlike isle, that so approve the more.
Is he well shipped?
Well, his bark is stoutly timbered, and his pilot a very expert and approved allowance. Therefore my hopes stand in bold cure.
A distant cannon shot is fired.
What noise?
They do discharge their shot of courtesy, our friends at least.
A soldier enters at a run. The storm begins to abate.
'Tis one Iago, agent to the general.
Oh, he's had most favorable and happy speed. Tempests themselves, high seas and howling winds, as having sense of beauty, do emit their mortal natures, letting go safely by the divine Desdemona.
What is she?
She, our great captain's captain, left in the conduct of the bold Iago, whose footing here anticipates our thoughts, us a night's speed. Great Jove, Othello guard, that he may bless this bay with his tall ship and bring all Cyprus comfort.
Good lieutenant, your general is wived?
Before he can answer, Desdemona enters with Emelia, Iago, Roderigo, and attendants. They too are wet as if having run up from the harbor, though less so as the weather has calmed. Desdemona makes straight for Cassio. Emelia moves so as to be in constant proximity to her mistress. Iago goes to make the acquaintance of Montano. Roderigo tries to figure out what to do with himself.
Behold! The richest of the ship is come on shore. Hail to thee, lady, and the grace of heaven, before, behind thee.
Cassio, what tidings can you tell me of my lord?
He is not yet arrived, nor know I aught, but that he's well and will be shortly here.
But I fear how lost you company?
The great contention of the sea and skies parted our fellowship.
Another cannon shot is fired.
But hark!
They give their greeting to the citadel. This likewise is a friend.
See for the news.
The soldier exits.
Good ancient, you are welcome. Welcome, mistress.
Cassio embraces Emelia.
Oh, let it not gall your patience, good Iago, that I extend my manners. 'Tis my breeding that gives me this bold show of courtesy.
Sir, would she give you so much of her lips as of her tongue she oft bestows upon me? You'd have enough.
Alas, she has no speech.
Faith, too much. I find it still when I have list to sleep. Oh, marry, before your ladyship, I grant she put her tongue a little in her heart and chides with thinking.
You have little cause to say so.
Come on. You are pictures out of doors, bells in your parlors, wildcats in your kitchens, saints in your injuries, devils be offended, players in your housewifery, and housewives in your beds. 'Tis true, or else I am a Turk. You rise to play and go to bed to work.
You shall not write my praise.
No, let me not.
I am not married.
He speaks home, madam. You may relish him more in the soldier than in the scholar.
Do not learn from him, Emelia, though he be thy husband. There's one gone to Harper.
Very good. Well kissed. Excellent courtesy. Whisper with as little a web as this. 'Tis so indeed. Ah, the Moor, I know his trumpet.
Let's meet him and receive him.
Lo, where he comes.
Cassio gently attempts to restrain Desdemona slightly, who's not yet familiar with the military protocols. Enter Othello and attendants. He first attends all military business and Montano.
How does my old acquaintance of this isle?
Then finding Desdemona.
Oh, my fair warrior.
My dear Othello.
It gives me wonder great is my content to see you here before me. Oh, my soul's joy. If after every tempest come such calms, may the winds blow till they have wakened death. And let the laboring bark climb hills of seas Olympus high and duck again as low as hells from heaven. If it were now to die, 'twere now to be most happy, for I fear my soul hath her content so absolute that not another comfort like to this succeeds an unknown fate.
The heavens forbid but that our loves and comforts should increase even as our days do grow.
Amen to that, sweet powers. I cannot speak enough of this content. It stops me here. It is too much of joy. And this, and this, the greatest discords be,
Kissing her.
that e'er a heart shall make. Come, let us to the castle. News, friends. Our wars are done. The Turks are drowned.
Yes.
Yeah! Honey, you shall be well deserved, desired in Cyprus. I have found great love amongst them. Oh, my sweet, I prattle out of fashion and I dote in my own comforts. Prithee, honest Iago, go to the bay and disembark my coffers. Bring thou the master to the citadel. He is a good one, and his worthiness does challenge much respect. Come, Desdemona. Once more, well met in Cyprus.
Exit Othello, Desdemona, and attendants.
Oh, you are well tuned now. But I'll set down the pegs that make this music, as honest as I am. Come hither. If thou beest valiant, list me. The lieutenant tonight watches on the court of guard. First, I must tell thee this. Desdemona is directly in love with him.
With him? 'Tis not possible.
Why, lay thy finger thus, and let thy soul be instructed. Mark me with what violence she first loved the more, but for bragging and telling her fantastical lies. And will she love him still for prating? Her eye must be fed. And what delight shall she have to look on the devil? When the blood is made dull with the act of sport, there should be, again to inflame it, and to give satiety a fresh appetite, loveliness and favor, sympathy in years, manners and beauties, all which the Moor is defective in. Now, for want of these required conveniences, her delicate tenderness will find itself abused, begin to heave the gorge, disrelish and abhor the Moor. Very nature will instruct her in it and compel her to some second choice. Now, sir, this granted, as it is a most pregnant and unforced position, who stands so eminent in the degree of this fortune as Cassio does? A knave very voluble, no further conscionable than in putting on the mere form of civil and humane seeming, for the better compassing of his salt and most hidden loose affection. Why none? Slipper and a subtle knave, a finder of occasions, that has an eye can stamp and counterfeit advantages, though true advantages never present itself. Devilish knave. Besides, the knave is handsome, young, and hath all those requisites in him that folly and green minds look after. A pestilent, complete knave, and the woman hath found him already.
I cannot believe that in her. She's full of most blessed condition.
A blessed a fig's end! The wine she drinks is made of grapes. If she had been blessed, she would never have loved them more. Blessed pudding. Did thou not see her paddle with the palm of his hands? Did not mark that?
Yes, that I did, but that was but courtesy.
Lechery by this hand. An index and obscure prologue to the history of lust and foul thoughts. They met so near with their lips that their breaths embraced together. Villainous thoughts, Roderigo. When these mutualities so marshal the way, hard at hand comes the master and the main exercise, the incorporate conclusion. But, sir, be ruled by me. Watch you tonight. Cassio knows not you. I'll not be far from you. Do you find some occasion to anger Cassio, either by speaking too loud or tainting his discipline, or from what other course you please? Sir, he is rash and very sudden in choler, and haply may strike at you. Provoke him that he may, for even out of that will I cause these of Cyprus to mutiny, who shall come into no true trust again, but by displanting of Cassio. So shall you have a shorter journey to your desires. By that means I shall then have to prefer them, and the impediment most profitably removed, without which there are no expectations of our prosperity.
Yeah, I will do this, if you can bring it to any opportunity.
I warrant thee. Meet me and buy at the citadel. I must fetch his necessaries ashore. Farewell.
Roderigo exits.
But Cassio loves her, I do believe it so. But she loves him, 'tis apt and of great credit. The more, howbeit that I endure him not, is of a constant, loving, noble nature, and I dare think he'll prove to Desdemona a most dear husband. Now I do love her too, not out of absolute lust, but partly led to diet my revenge, for that I do suspect the lusty Moor hath leapt into my seat. The thought whereof doth like poisonous minerals gnaw my inwards, and nothing can or shall content my soul till I am evened with him, wife for wife. Or failing so, yet that I put the Moor at least into a jealousy so strong that judgment cannot cure. Which thing to do? If this poor trash of Venice stand the putting on, I'll have our Michael Cassio on the hip. Abuse him to the Moor in the rank garb, and make the Moor thank me, love me, and reward me for making him egregiously an ass and practicing upon his peace and quiet, even to madness. 'Tis here, but yet confused.
Iago stands alone. Over a public address system is heard the following.
It is Othello's pleasure, our noble and valiant general, that, upon certain tidings now arrived, importing the mere perdition of the Turkish fleet, every man put himself into triumph. For besides these beneficial news, it is the celebration of his nuptial. There is full liberty of feasting from this present hour of 5 till the bell have tolled 11. Heaven bless the Isle of Cyprus and our noble General Othello.
Good Michael, look you to the guard tonight.
Iago hath direction what to do. But notwithstanding, with my personal eye will I look to it.
Let's teach ourselves that honorable stop, not to outsport discretion. Michael, good night. Tomorrow with your earliest, let me have speech with you. Come, my dear love.
Good night.
Iago! We must to the watch.
Well, not this hour, Lieutenant. 'Tis not yet 10 of the clock. Our general cast us thus early for the love of his Desdemona, whom let us not therefore blame. He hath not yet made wanton the night with her, and she is sport for Jove.
She's a most exquisite lady.
And I'll warrant her full of game.
Indeed. She's a most fresh and delicate creature.
What an eye she has. Methinks it sounds a parley to provocation.
An inviting eye, and yet methinks right modest.
And when she speaks, is it not an alarum to love?
She is indeed perfection.
Well, happiness to their sheets. Come, Lieutenant. I have a stoup of wine, and here without are a brace of Cyprus gallants that would fain have a measure to the health of Black Othello.
Not tonight, good Iago. I have a very poor and unhappy brains for drinking. I could well wish courtesy would invent some other custom of entertainment.
Oh, they are our friends. Come have a cup.
I have drunk but one cup tonight. And then that was craftily qualified too. And behold, what innovation it makes here. I am unfortunate in the infirmity and dare not task my weakness with any more.
But here they come.
Oh.
Montano enters with a couple of soldiers and 3 Cypriots. Roderigo's there too. Iago meets them as they enter with bottles at the ready.
Some wine, ho!
The Cypriot men begin a drinking song in Greek. It is something folkloric, and a couple of them dance as well. They attempt to teach Cassio the steps, but he never quite has the hang of it.
Some wine, boys!
For God, an excellent song! To the health of our general!
Now Iago begins an Italian song. He sings
this
it
is
very
a
well.
more exquisite song than the other.
Wilt thou hear it again?
No, for I hold him to be unworthy of his place that does those things. Well, God's above all, and there be souls must be saved, and there be souls must be saved.
It's true, good lieutenant.
For my own part, no offense to the general nor any man of quality, I hope to be saved.
And so do I too,
Aye, but by your leave, not before me. The lieutenant is to be saved before the ancient. This is my ancient. This is my right hand, and this is my left. Let's have no more of this. Let's to our affairs. God forgive our sins. Gentlemen, let's look to our business.
To the platform, masters. Come, let's set the watch.
The soldiers, one by one, head out to their posts. The Cypriots disperse as well.
You see this fellow that has gone before. He is a soldier fit to stand by Caesar and give direction. And do what's his vice. 'Tis to his virtue a just equinox, the one as long as the other. 'Tis pity of him. I fear the trust Othello puts in him on some odd time of his infirmity will shake this land.
But is he often thus?
'Tis evermore a prologue to his sleep. He'll watch the horologe a double set, if drink not rock his cradle.
It were well the general were put in mind of it. Perhaps he sees it not, or his good nature prizes the virtue that appears in Cassio and looks not on his evils. Is not this true? And 'tis great pity that the general should hazard such a place as his own second with one of an engraft infirmity. It were an honest action to say so.
Not I for this island. I do love Cassio well, and would do much.
There is the sound of mayhem
To
within.
cure this evil, but hark, what noise?
You rogue! You rascal!
What's the matter, Lieutenant?
A knave! Teach me my duty. I'll beat the knave.
Beat me?
Dost thou prate, rogue?
Nay, good Lieutenant, I pray you, sir, hold your
Let
hand.
go of me, sir. I'll knock you all to...
Come, you're drunk.
Drunk?
Away, I say, go out and cry your mutiny.
Roderigo exits running. As such brawls go, the combatants are quickly confused, with no one really knowing who's fighting whom or why, just as Iago had planned.
Nay, good lieutenant. God's will, gentlemen. Help! Help! Lieutenant! Sir!
A loud alarm bell begins to ring. Cassio has pulled a blade and jams it into Montano's leg.
The town will rise. God's will, Lieutenant, hold! You will be shamed forever.
Othello enters at a run, barefoot, in pants and a robe cinched at the waist.
What is the matter here?
He immediately throws himself into the melee, parting men and tossing soldiers and Cypriots off of each other.
Zoons, I bleed! He dies!
The fight rages on. For a moment it looks like Othello and Montano against the rest, and they would win.
Hold, Lieutenant! Sir, Montano, gentlemen!
Hold for your lives!
The brawl is finally halted. The combatants all standing or lying about, some only a twitch away from falling to one another's throats again.
Whence ariseth this? Are we turned Turks, and to ourselves do that which heaven hath forbid the Ottomites?
A soldier and a Cypriot break out into a violent skirmish again. A third jumps in. Othello moves to separate them, and Iago assists.
He that stirs next to carve for his own rage holds his soul light. He dies upon his motion. Silence that dreadful bell. It frights the isle from her propriety. What is the matter, masters? Speak! Who began this?
I do not know. Friends all but now, even now, in quarter and in term, like bride and groom, divesting them from bread. And then, but now, as if some planet had unwitted men in opposition bloody. I cannot speak any beginning to this peevish odds, and would in action glorious I had lost those legs that brought me to be part of it.
How comes it, Michael, you are thus forgot?
I pray you part. I cannot speak.
Worthy Montano, you are wont to be civil. The gravity and stillness of your youth, the world hath noted, and your name is great in the mouths of wisest censure. What's the matter that you unlace your reputation thus and spend your rich opinion for the name of a night brawler? Give me answer to it.
Worthy Othello, I am hurt to danger. Your officer Iago can inform you while I spare speech which something now offends me of all that I do know. Nor know I aught by me that said or done amiss this night, lest to defend ourselves it be a sin when violence assails us.
Now by heaven, my blood begins my safer guides to rule, and passion, having my best judgment colleague, essays to lead the way. If I once stir, or do but lift this arm, the best of you shall sink in my rebuke. Give me to know how this foul rout began, who set it on, and he that is approved in this offense, though he had twinned with me both at a birth, shall lose me. What, in a town of war, yet wild, the people's hearts brimful of fear, to manage private and domestic quarrel, in night and on the court and guard of safety? Iago, who began?
If partially affined or leagued in office, thou dost deliver more or less than truth. Thou art no soldier.
Touch me not so near. Thus it is, General. Montano and myself being in speech, comes a fellow and Cassio following to execute upon. Sir, this gentleman steps into Cassio and entreats his pause. Myself, the crying fellow, did pursue, lest by his clamor, as it so fell out, the town might fall in fright. He, swift of foot, outran my purpose, and I returned the rather to Cassio, high in oath, which till tonight I ne'er might say before. When I came back, I found them even as again they were when you yourself did part them. More of this matter cannot I report. But men are men. The best sometimes forget. Though Cassio did some little wrong to him, as men in rage strike those that wish them best, yet surely Cassio, I believe, received from him that fled some strange indignity which patience could not pass.
Cassio, I love thee, but never more be officer of mine.
Desdemona is seen above, looking on. She too has obviously been raised from bed, but she appears more concerned than annoyed. She's unnoticed below.
I'll make thee an example.
To Montano.
Sir, for your hurts, myself will be your surgeon.
To
Iago, look with care about the town and silence those whom this vile brawl distracted.
Iago rallies the soldiers, returning them all to their posts. When all have cleared, Cassio collapses to the ground.
What, are you hurt, Lieutenant?
I past all surgery.
Marry heaven forbid.
Reputation, reputation, reputation. I have lost my reputation. I have lost the immortal part of myself, and what remains is bestial. My reputation, Iago, my reputation.
As I am an honest man, I thought you had received some bodily wound. There is more sense in that than reputation. Reputation is an idle and most false imposition, oft got without merit and lost without deserving. You've lost no reputation at all, unless you repute yourself such a loser. What, man? There are ways to recover the general again. You are but now cast in his mood, a punishment more in policy than in malice. Even so as one would beat his offenseless dog to affright an imperious lion. Sue to him again, and he's yours.
I will rather sue to be despised than to deceive so good a commander with so slight, so drunken, and so indiscreet an officer. Drunk, and speak parrot, and squabble, swagger, swear, and discourse fustian with one's own shadow. Oh, thou invisible spirit of wine, if thou hast no name to be known, let us call thee devil.
What was he that you followed? What had he done to you?
I know not.
It's possible.
I remember a mass of things, but nothing distinctly. A quarrel, but nothing wherefore. Oh, God, that men should put an enemy in their mouths to steal away their brains, that we should, with joy, pleasance, revel, and applause, transform ourselves into beasts.
Why, but you are now well enough. How came you thus recovered?
It hath pleased the devil drunkenness to give place to the devil wrath. One unpurposed perfectness shows me another to make me frankly despise myself.
Come, you are too severe a moraler. As the time, the place, and the condition of this country stands, I could heartily wish this had not befallen. But since it is as it is, mend it for your own good.
I will ask him for my place again. He shall tell me I am a drunkard. Had I as many mouths as Hydra, such an answer would stop them all. To be now but a sensible man, by and by a fool, and presently a beast. Oh, strange, every inordinate cup is unblessed, and the ingredient is a devil.
Come, come. Good wine is a good familiar creature, if it be well used. Exclaim no more against it. And good lieutenant, I think you know I love you.
I have well approved it, sir. I drunk.
Somewhere earlier within the succeeding exchange, Roderigo returns unnoticed and hears Iago deliver the last of this advice to Cassio.
You or any man living may be drunk at some time, man. I'll tell you what you shall do. Our general's wife is now the general. I may say so in this respect, for that he hath devoted and given him up himself to the contemplation, mark, and denotement of her parts and graces. Confess yourself freely to her. Importune her help to put you in your place again. She is of so free, so kind, so apt, so blessed a disposition that she holds it a vice in her goodness not to do more than she has requested. This broken joint between you and her husband, entreat her to splinter. And my fortunes against any lay worth naming, this crack of your love shall grow stronger than it was before.
You advise me well.
I protest in the sincerity of love and honest kindness.
I think it freely, and betimes in the morning I will beseech the virtuous Desdemona to undertake for me. I am desperate of my fortunes if they check me here.
You are in the right. Good night, Lieutenant. I must to the watch.
Good night, Iago.
How now, Roderigo?
I do follow here in the chase, not like a hound that hunts, but one that fills up the cry. My money is almost spent. I have been tonight exceedingly well cudgeled, and I think the issue will be I shall have so much experience for my pains, and so, with no money at all, and a little more wit, return again to Venice.
How poor are they that have not patience. What wound did ever heal but by degrees? Thou know'st we work by wit and not by witchcraft, and wit depends on dilatory time. Does not go well? Cassio has beaten thee, and thou by that small hurt hast cashiered Cassio. Though other things grow fair against the sun, yet fruits that blossom first will be the first be ripe. Content thyself a while.
Nay,
By thy mast 'tis morning, pleasure and action make the hours seem short. Retire thee. Go where thou art billeted.
Nay.
Away, I say. Thou shalt no more hereafter. Nay, get thee gone.
After having tried several times to interject his further discontent at points throughout this speech, Roderigo gives up and exits. Iago exits. Okay. We're going to take a break. Yes, we're going to come back in 10 minutes. Those of you who have to go on, if you want to scan the QR code, and there's some just general questions that we'd love you to answer about what you've just seen. You've seen the first 2 acts so far of Othello, and we'll be continuing after 10 minutes. So please do come back, but I know there are some people who have to run to another class. So give us 10 minutes, stretch your legs, and we'll be back. It's intermission, y'all. Okay, welcome back, everyone, to the Untitled Othello.
We are back.
In process reading.
No.
We are at Act 3, Scene 1. Cyprus, a street before the Citadel. The following morning, it's 8 a.m. Efforts have been made to make the residence nominally pleasant in the midst of a garrison. The efforts have been half successful. There are a couple of ornate benches and perhaps a large potted plant or two, not in keeping with the corrugated metal and crating that lies about. Soldiers and servants are milling about the compound. Cassio enters. His state is none better than when we last saw him. Encountering a Cypriot woman carrying a basket of laundry, she tries to pass, but he physically stops her and speaks to her with that odd omission of syntax that people inadvertently employ when speaking to someone who does not speak their language.
There's a poor piece of gold for thee. If the gentlewoman that attends the general's wife be stirring, tell her there's one Cassio entreats her a little favor of speech. Wilt thou do this?
The woman is both confused and frightened to be confronted in this way.
Do good, my friend.
Emelia enters, and her voice is all that is needed to distract Cassio.
Good morrow, good lieutenant. I am...
Emelia insinuates herself between Cassio and the washerwoman, dismissing her brusquely.
Go, vanish into air, away! Sorry for your displeasure, but all will sure be well.
The washerwoman passes Iago as he enters on his way to attend upon the general. He's been at his watch all night and looks it. The unexpected discovery of Emelia and Cassio together stops Iago. Unnoticed, he listens to the conversation unfold before approaching.
The general and his wife are talking of it, and she speaks for you stoutly. The more replies that he you heard is of great fame in Cyprus and great affinity, and that in wholesome wisdom he might not but refuse you, but he protests he loves you, and needs no other suitor but his likings to take the safest occasion by the front to bring you in again.
Yet I beseech you, if you think fit, or that it may be done, give me advantage of some brief discourse with Desdemona alone.
You've not been to bed, then?
Why, no. I have made bold to send in to your wife. My suit to her is that she will to virtuous Desdemona procure me some access.
Emelia looks to Iago as if waiting for him to offer his approval. When he does,
Pray you, come in, and I will bestow you where you shall have the time to speak your bosom freely.
I am much bound to you.
Emelia and Cassio exit. Othello enters, walking briskly with Montano and another officer. He speaks to Iago offhandedly as he passes, handing him a sheaf of letters.
These letters give Iago to the pilot, and by him do my duties to the Senate. That done, I will be walking on the works. This fortification, gentlemen, shall we see it? Prepare there to me.
My good lord, I'll do it.
Desdemona, Emelia, and Cassio enter from within.
Be thou assured, good Cassio, I will do all my abilities in thy behalf.
Good madam, do. I warrant it grieves my husband as if the case were his.
Do not you doubt, but I will have my lord and you again as friendly as you were.
Bounteous madam, whatever shall become of Michael Cassio, he's never anything but your true servant.
I know it. I thank you. You do love my lord, you have known him long, and be you well assured he shall, in strangeness, stand no further off than in a polite distance.
Aye, but lady, that policy may either last so long or breed itself so out of circumstance that I, being absent and my place supplied, my general will forget my love and service.
Do not doubt that. Before Emelia here, I give thee warrant of thy place. Assure thee, if I do vow a friendship, I'll perform it to the last article. Therefore, be merry. Cassio, for thy solicitor shall rather die than give thy cause away.
Othello, Iago, and attending soldiers can be heard in conversation.
Madam, here comes my lord.
Madam, I am very ill at ease, unfit for my own purposes.
Emelia and Desdemona shepherd Cassio off, but Desdemona stays. Othello enters.
Ah, I like not that.
What dost thou say?
Nothing, my lord. Or if I know not what.
Is not that Cassio parted from my wife?
Cassio, my lord? No, sure, I cannot think that he would steal away so guilty-like, seeing you coming.
How now, my lord? I have been talking with a suitor here, a man that languishes in your displeasure.
Who is't you mean?
Why, your lieutenant Cassio. Good my lord, if I have any grace or favor, power to move you, his present reconciliation take. For if he be not one that truly loves you, that errs in ignorance and not in cunning, I have no judgment in an honest face. I prithee, call him back.
Went he hence now?
Aye, sooth, so humbled that he hath left part of his grief with me to suffer with him. Good love, call him back.
Not now, sweet Desdemona, some other time.
But shall it be shortly?
The sooner, sweet for you.
Shall it be tonight at supper?
No, not tonight.
Tomorrow dinner, then.
I shall not dine at home. I meet the captains at the Citadel.
Why then tomorrow night, or Tuesday morn, on Tuesday noon, or night, on Wednesday morn. I prithee name the time, but let it not exceed 3 days of faith. He's penitent. And yet his trespass in our common reason is not almost a fault to incur a private check. When shall he come? Tell me, Othello, I wonder in my soul what you would ask me that I should deny or stand so mammering on? What? Michael Cassio that came a-wooing with you, and so many times when I have spoke of you dispraisingly, hath ta'en your part, to have so much to do to bring him in. Trust me, I could do much.
Prithee, no more. Let him come when he will. I will deny thee nothing.
Why, this is not a boon. 'Tis as I should entreat you, wear your gloves, or feed on nourishing dishes, or keep you warm, or sue to you to do a peculiar profit to your own person. Nay, when I have a suit wherein I mean to touch your love indeed, it shall be full of poise and difficult weight, and fearful to be granted.
I will deny thee nothing. Whereon I do beseech thee, grant me this, to leave me but a little to myself.
Shall I deny you? No. Farewell, my lord.
Farewell, my Desdemona.
Be as your fancies teach you. Whate'er you be, I am obedient.
Desdemona turns to leave, but Othello catches her up in his arms again. It's a desperate sort of hug, as if he's afraid to let her go. Iago and Emelia and others look on, embarrassed or perhaps jealous of so public and yet so unabashedly intimate and unapologetic moment.
Excellent wretch. Perdition, catch my soul, but I do love thee. And when I love thee not, chaos has come again.
Finally, Othello releases her. She kisses him. Iago and Emelia stand.
Emelia, come.
They exit.
My noble lord.
What dost thou say, Iago?
Did Michael Cassio, when you wooed my lady, know of your love?
He did, from first to last. Why dost thou ask?
But for satisfaction of my thought, no further harm.
Why of thy thought, Iago?
I did not think he had been acquainted with her.
Oh yes, and went between us very oft.
Indeed.
Indeed, aye, indeed. Discernest thou aught in that? Is he not honest?
Honest, my lord.
Honest? Aye, honest.
My lord, for aught I know.
What dost thou think?
Think, my lord?
Think, my lord! By heaven, thou echoest me, as if there was some monster in thy thought too hideous to be shown. Thou dost mean something. I heard thee say even now, thou likest not that when Cassio left. What didst not like? If thou dost love me...
My lord, you know I love you.
I think thou dost, and waitst thy words before thou givest them breath.
For Michael Cassio, I dare be sworn, I think that he is honest.
I think so too.
Men should be what they seem, or those that be not, would they might seem none.
Certain, men should be what they seem.
Why, then I think Cassio's an honest man.
Iago moves to exit. perhaps by saluting and turning, but Othello is not going to let this go.
Nay, yet there's more in this. Speak. Give thy worst of thoughts, the worst of words.
Good my lord, pardon me. Though I am bound to every act of duty, I am not bound to that all slaves are free to utter my thoughts. Why, say they are vile and false, as where's that palace whereinto foul things sometimes intrude not? Who has a breast so pure, but some uncleanly apprehensions?
Thou dost conspire against thy friend Iago, if thou but think'st him wrong, and makest his ear a stranger to thy thoughts.
I do beseech you, as I perchance am vicious in my guess, as I confess it is my nature's plague to spy into abuses, and oft my jealousy shapes faults that are not. I entreat you then, from one that so imperfectly conjects, you'd take no notice, nor build yourself a trouble out of my scattering and unsure observance. It were not for your quiet, nor your good, nor my manhood, honesty, or wisdom to let you know my thoughts.
What dost thou mean?
Good name in man and woman, dear my lord, is the immediate jewel of their souls. I mean, who steals my purse, steals trash? 'Tis something, nothing, 'twas mine, 'tis his, and has been slave to thousands. But he that filches from me my good name robs me of that which not enriches him and makes me poor indeed. Beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. That cuckold lives in bliss, who certain of his fate loves not his wronger. But oh, what damned minutes tell he o'er what who dotes, yet doubts, suspects, yet strongly loves. Poor and content is rich and rich enough, but rich is boundless, is as poor as winter to him that ever fears he shall be poor. Good God, the souls of all my tribe defend from jealousy.
Why? Why is this? Thinkest thou I'd make a life of jealousy? To follow still the changes of the moon with fresh suspicions? No. To be once in doubt is once to be resolved. 'Tis not to make me jealous to say my wife is fair, feeds well, loves company, is free of speech, sings, plays, and dances well. What virtue is, these are more virtuous. Nor from mine own weak merits will I draw the smallest fear or doubt of her revolt. For she had eyes and chose me. No, Iago, I see before I doubt. When I doubt, prove. And on the proof, there is no more but this, away at once with love or jealousy.
Well, I am glad of this, for now I shall have reason to show the love and duty that I bear you with franker spirit. Therefore, as I am bound, receive it from me. And I speak not yet of proof. Look to your wife. Observe her well with Cassio. Wear your eye thus, not jealous, not secure. I would not have your free and noble nature be abused. Look to it. I know our country disposition well. In Venice they do let heaven see the pranks they dare not show their husbands. Their best conscience is not to leave undone, but kept unknown.
Dost thou say so?
She did deceive her father, marrying you. She that so young could give out such a seeming to seal her father's eyes up close as oak, he thought 'twas witchcraft. But I am much to blame. I humbly do beseech you of your pardon. I hope you will consider what is spoke comes from my love. But I do see you are moved.
Desdemona's honest.
Long live she so, and long live you to think so. To be bold with you, not to affect many proposed matches of her own clime, complexion, and degree, whereto we see in all things nature tends. But pardon me, I do not in position distinctly speak of her, though I may fear her will, recoiling to her better judgment, may fall to match you with her country forms, and happily repent.
Farewell. Farewell! If more thou dost perceive, let me know more. Leave me.
My lord, I take my leave.
Iago exits. Othello stands for a long moment, attempting to piece together what was that just was and from where it arose. He begins to finally settle into paperwork on the table. Iago re-enters.
My lord, I might entreat your honor to scan this thing no further. Leave it to time. Although 'tis fit that Cassio have his place, for sure he fills it up with great ability. Yet if you please to hold him off a while, you shall that perceive him and his means. Note if your lady strain his entertainment with any strong or vehement importunity. Much will be seen in that. And in the meantime, let me be thought too busy in my fears, as worthy cause I have to fear I am, and hold her free, I do beseech your honor.
Fear not my government.
I once more take my leave.
Iago turns and takes steps to leave once again, but Othello stops him with a snap or two of his fingers. He returns again to the general. When they're face to face, Othello draws back a hand like lightning and slaps Iago so hard it literally lifts him off his feet. Iago is dizzied, combative, apologetic in posture, then dizzy again, almost to falling, all in the course of 3 seconds. Othello sits down and goes back to work, dismissing Iago with a wave and a glare that could set his clothes on fire. Iago, still dazed from the blow, comes to attention, salutes, turns, and exits. Othello stands. He takes a tight-fitting head wrap from his head. It has a flowing trail. All the African soldiers wear them. He daubs his brow with it.
How now, my dear Othello? Your dinner and the generous islanders by you invited do attend your presence.
I am to blame.
Why do you speak so faintly? Are not you well?
I have a pain upon my forehead, here.
Faith, that's with watching. 'Twill away again. Let me but bind it hard. Within this hour it will be well.
Desdemona takes from her waist a large handkerchief made of dark brown fabric, black fabric, ornately embroidered with Arabic designs and writing, and with red strawberries that stand out sharply against the dark background and white embroidery. She first daubs the perspiration on Othello's brow, then attempts to wrap the kerchief around his head and tie it. Othello is so taken with her loving attention that in a rush of passion he takes her up in his arms and kisses her deeply. She responds to the kiss with an equal energy, wrapping her arms around him and embracing his head with both her hands. Within the throes of this, she drops the handkerchief to the ground. When they finally break the kiss, they stand with their faces very close, speaking to each other through the energy of intense arousal.
Come. I'll go with you.
I'm very sorry that you are not well.
Desdemona continues to kiss his head and face until he pulls away and takes her by the hand. They exit arm in arm, forgetting Emelia. Held somehow between them is the head wrap mistaken for the handkerchief. Emelia picks up the handkerchief. There's a moment of indecision when she might run after her mistress to return it. There is a second such moment, then something else. Emelia stands with the handkerchief, feels it, smells it, and rubs it against her skin. She sits with it. Daylight fades. Garish garrison lights come on. Emelia sits. Iago enters. Has he been looking for her? Was she expected somewhere and failed to show up for being lost in her reverie? His sudden presence startles her, and she stands.
How now? What do you here alone?
Do not you chide?
It is a common thing to have a foolish wife.
Iago, in taking Emelia by the arm, notices the handkerchief she's holding.
Has stolen it from her?
No, Faith. She let it drop by negligence, and I, being here, tooked up.
Iago snatches the handkerchief from her.
Give it me.
What will you do with it?
Amelia snatches it back.
What's that to you?
If it be not for some purpose of import, give it me again. Poor lady, she shall run mad if she shall lack it.
Be not a known aunt, I have use for it.
The tussle stops with Emelia in possession of the handkerchief, but yet in their stillness there's an energy, a look, a tone of voice, and Emelia slowly hands the piece to Iago, who takes it while holding her in his gaze.
Go, leave me.
Reluctantly, Emelia exits and Iago watches her go.
Good wench.
Once she's gone, Iago examines the handkerchief.
Trifles light as air are to the jealous confirmations strong as proofs of holy writ. This may do something.
Iago hears an approach and gets up to see who's arriving. He stuffs the handkerchief into his pants. As Othello enters, Iago snaps to attention.
Why, how now, General?
Avaunt, be gone.
Iago begins to exit.
He that is robbed not wanting what is stolen, let him not know it, and he's not robbed at all.
How now, my lord?
Villain, be sure thou prove my love a whore. Be sure of it. Give me the ocular proof, or by the worth of man's eternal soul, thou hadst been better have been born a dog than answer my waked wrath. Make me to see it, or at least so prove it that the probation bear no hinge nor loop to hang a doubt on, or woe upon thy life. If thou dost slander her and torture me, never pray more, abandon all remorse. On horror's head, horrors accumulate. Do deeds to make heaven weep, all earth amazed. For nothing canst thou to damnation add greater than that.
Oh, grace, oh, heaven, forgive me. God be with you. Take mine office. Oh, wretched fool that lives to make thine honesty a vice. To be direct and honest is not safe. I thank you for this profit, and from hence I love no friend, sith love breeds such offense.
Stay. Thou shouldst be honest.
I should be wise, for honesty's a fool and loses that it's worked for.
I'll have some proof.
You would be satisfied?
Would? Nay, I will.
If imputations and strong circumstances which lead directly to the door of truth will give you satisfaction, you may have it.
Give me a living reason she's disloyal.
I do not like the office.
Othello stands over him, not at all sure that this last thing he said was true.
But sith I am entered in this cause so far, pricked to by foolish honesty and love, I will go on. I lay with Cassio lately, and being troubled with a raging tooth, I could not sleep. And there are a kind of men so loose of soul that in their sleeps will mutter their affairs. Well, one of this kind is Cassio. In sleep I heard him say, "Cursed fate that gave thee to the moor."
Nay, this was but his dream.
'Tis a shrewd doubt, though it be but a dream. Tell me but this. Have you not sometimes seen a handkerchief spotted with strawberries in your wife's hand?
I gave her such a one. 'Twas my first gift.
I know not that, but such a handkerchief, I am sure it was your wife's. Did I today see Cassio wipe his beard with?
If it be that. Farewell, the tranquil mind. Farewell, content. Farewell, the plumed troop and the big wars that make ambition virtue. Farewell. Oteo's occupation's gone. Oh, that the slave had 40,000 lives.
Yet,
never, Iago, my bloody thoughts shall ne'er look back, ne'er ebb to humble love, till that a capable and wide revenge swallow them up.
Patience, I say, your mind perhaps might change. Let you command, and to obey shall be in me remorse. What bloody business ever?
Within these 3 days, let me hear thee say that Cassio's not alive.
My friend is dead. 'Tis done at your request. But let her live.
Othello exits. Iago follows. Before the citadel, same as the previous scene, it's about 1 p.m. Desdemona and Emelia enter.
Where should I lose that handkerchief, Emelia?
I know not, madam.
Believe me, I had rather lost my purse full of cruzados, but my noble lord is true of mind and made of no such baseness as jealous creatures are. It were enough to put him to ill thinking.
Is he not jealous?
Who, he? I think the sun where he was born drew all such humors from him.
Oh, look where he comes.
How whist with you, my lord?
Well, my good lady, how do you, Desdemona?
Well, my good lord.
She takes his hand with both of hers and kisses it, then kisses him.
His hand is moist, my lady.
It yet hath felt no age nor known no sorrow.
This argues fruitfulness and liberal heart.
You may indeed say so, for 'twas that hand that gave away my heart.
A liberal hand.
I cannot speak of this. Come now, your promise.
What promise?
I have sent to bid Cassio come speak with you.
I have a salt and sorry room offends me. Lend me thy handkerchief.
I have it not about me.
Not?
No, faith, my lord.
That is a fault. That handkerchief did an Egyptian to my mother give. She was a charmer and could almost read the thoughts of people. She told her, while she kept it, 'twould make her amiable and subdue my father entirely to her love. But if she lost it, or made gift of it, my father's eye should hold her loathed, and his spirit should hunt after new fancies. She, dying, gave it me, and bid me, when my fate would have me wife, to give it her. I did so. And take heed on't. Make it a darling like your precious eye. To loose or gift away was such perdition as nothing else could match.
Is't possible?
'Tis true, there's magic in the web of it. A sibyl that had numbered in the world the sun to course 200 compasses, and her prophetic fury sowed the work. The worms were hallowed that did breathe the silk, and it was dyed in mummy, which the skillful conserved of maidens' hearts.
If faith is true,
most veritable, therefore look to it well.
Then would to God I'd never seen't.
Wherefore?
Why do you speak so startlingly and rash?
It's lost, it's gone. Speak!
Heaven bless us!
Say you?
It is not lost. But what and if it were?
How?
I say it is not lost.
Fetched, let me see it.
Why so I can, sir, but I will not now. This is a trick to put me from my suit. Pray you, let Cassio be received again.
Fetch me the handkerchief, my mind misgives.
Come, you'll never meet a more sufficient
The
man.
handkerchief!
I pray talk me of Cassio.
The handkerchief!
A man that all his time hath founded his good fortunes on your love, shared dangers.
The handkerchief!
And faith! You are to blame.
Othello rises abruptly and exits.
Is not this man jealous?
I never saw this before. Sure, there's some wonder in this handkerchief. I am most unhappy in the loss of it.
'Tis not a year or two shows us a man. They are all but stomachs, and we all but food. They eat us hungrily, and when they're full, they belch us. Look you, Cassio and my husband.
Cassio and Iago enter. Iago goes to Emelia. Desdemona speaks, but the focus of her energy remains directed off in the direction of her husband.
Oh no, good Cassio, what's the news with you?
Madam, my former suit, I do beseech you that by your virtuous means I may again exist and be a member of his love, whom I with all the office of my heart entirely honor. I would not be delayed if my offense be of such mortal kind that nor my service past, nor my present sorrows, nor purposed merit in futurity can ransom me into his love again. But to know so must be
Gentle Cassio! My advocation is not now in tune. My lord is not my lord, nor should I know him were he in favor as in humor altered. So help me, every spirit sanctified, as I have spoken for you all my best, and stood within the blank of his displeasure for my free speech. You must a while be patient. What I can do, I will, and more I will than for myself I dare. Let that suffice you.
Is my lord angry?
He went hence now, and certainly in strange unquietness.
Can he be angry? I've seen the cannon when it hath blown his ranks into the air, and like the devil from his very arm puffed his own brother. And can he be angry? Something of moment, then. I will go meet him. There's matter in it if he be angry.
I prithee do so.
Iago exits.
Something sure of state, either in Venice or some unhatched practice made demonstrable here in Cyprus to him, hath puddled his clear spirit. And in such cases men's natures wrangle with inferior things, though great ones are their object. 'Tis even so, for let our finger ache, and it endues our other healthful members even to that sense of pain. Nay, we must think men are not gods, nor of them look for such observancy as fits the bridal. Surely much, Emelia, I was unhandsome warrior that I am, arraigning his unkindness with my soul, but now I find I had suborned the witness, and he's indicted falsely.
Pray heaven it be state matters as you think, and no conception nor no jealous toy concerning you.
Alas, the day I never gave him cause.
The jealous souls will not be answered so. They're not ever jealous for the cause, they're jealous for they're jealous. 'Tis a monster begot upon itself, born upon itself.
Heaven keep that monster from Othello's mind.
Lady, amen.
I will go seek him. Cassio, passeggia qui intorno. If I do find him fit, I'll move your suit and seek to effect it to my uttermost.
I humbly thank your ladyship.
Cassio bows, Desdemona and Emelia exit. He stands around attempting to figure out what to do with himself when Bianca enters.
Garastismus, Cassio.
What make you from home? How is it with you, my most fair Bianca? Faith, I was coming to your house.
And I was going to your lodging, Cassio.
Pardon me, Bianca, I have this while with leaden thoughts been pressed, but I shall in a more continuate time strike off this score of absence. Sweet Bianca, take me this workout.
Whence came this?
Throw your vile guesses in the devil's teeth from whence you have them. You are jealous now that this is from some mistress, some remembrance. No, by my faith, Bianca, I found it in my chamber. I like the work well. Ere it be demanded as like it enough it will, I'd have it copied. Take it and do it and leave me for this time.
Leave you?
I do attend here on the general and think it no addition, nor my wish to have him see me woman.
Why, I pray.
Not that I love you
but
not.
that you do not love me. I pray you bring me on the way a little.
Oh, 'tis but a little way that I can bring you, for I attend here, but I'll see you soon.
'Tis very good. I must be circumstanced.
Bianca exits. It is about 3 p.m. Othello and Iago enter in mid-conversation.
If I give my wife a handkerchief,
what then?
Why then 'tis hers, my lord, and being hers, she may, I think, bestow it on any man.
She is protectress of our honor, too. May she give that?
Her honor is an essence that's not seen. They have it very oft that have it not. But for the handkerchief...
By heaven, I would most gladly have forgot it. Thou saidst, oh, it comes o'er my memory as doth the raven or the infected house. He had my handkerchief.
What if I had said I had seen him do you wrong, or heard him say...
Hath he said anything?
He hath, my lord, but be you well assured no more than he'll unswear.
What hath he said?
Faith that he... I know not what he did.
What? What?
Lie.
With her?
With her, on her, what you will.
Lie with her, lie on her. We say lie on her when they belie her. Lie with her, that's fulsome. Handkerchief, confess, to confess and be hanged for his labor. I tremble at it. Nature would not invest herself in such shadowing passion without some instruction. It is not words that shake me thus. Noses, ears, and lips. Confess, handkerchief.
What? Oh, my lord. My lord, I say. Othello.
Cassio enters.
How now,
Iago's-
Cassio?
What's the matter?
My lord has fallen into... Well, this is his second fit. He had one yesterday.
Rub him about the temples.
No. The lethargy must have his quiet course. If not, he foams at mouth and by and by breaks out to savage madness. Look, he stirs. Do you withdraw yourself a little while, he will recover straight. When he is gone, I'd speak with you.
Cassio exits.
How is General? Would you would bear your fortune like a man? There's millions now alive that nightly lie in those unproper beds which they dare swear peculiar. Your case is better. Oh, 'tis the spite of hell, the fiend's arch mock, to lip a wanton in a secure couch and to suppose her chaste. No, let me know. And knowing what I am, I know what she shall be.
Othello rises and begins to get his bearings. He attempts to speak, perhaps in Arabic.
Stand you a while apart. Confine yourself but a patient list. Whilst you were here, overwhelmed with your grief, Cassio came hither.
Did he confess it?
I shifted him away and laid good skews upon your ecstasy, bade him anon return. Do but encave yourself, and mark the fleers, the jibes, and notable scorns that dwell in every region of his face. For I will make him tell the tale anew, where, how oft, how long, and when he hath and is again to cope your wife.
Othello, as recovered as he can make himself from his seizure, looks about for a place from which to observe. He's not one for hiding, and he's not sure about this idea. His hesitancy is obvious. Iago's impatience is also obvious.
Will you withdraw?
Slowly, Othello finds a place from which he can easily see, and can in fact be easily seen if someone knows where to look. He's not so much in hiding as inconspicuous, ready to step out at any moment. Cassio enters.
How do you now, Lieutenant?
The worser that you give me the addition, whose want even kills me.
Ply Desdemona well, and you are sure on't. Now, if this suit lay in Bianca's power, how quickly should you speed?
Alas, poor caitiff.
I never knew a woman love man so.
Alas, poor rogue.
Do you hear, Cassio? She gives it out that you shall marry her. Do you intend it?
I marry her. Prithee, bear some charity to my wit. Do not think it so unwholesome.
Faith, the cry goes that you shall marry her.
Prithee, say true.
I am a very villain else.
This is the monkey's own giving out. She is persuaded I will marry her out of her own love and flattery, not out of my promise. She was here even now. She haunts me in every place. I was talking on the sea bank with certain Venetian, and thither comes the bauble, and by this hand she falls me thus about my neck. She hangs and lolls and weeps upon me. She shakes and pulls me. Ah, well, I must leave her company.
Before me look where she comes.
What do you mean by this haunting?
Let the devil and his dam haunt you. That same handkerchief you gave me, even now I was a fine fool to take it, that you should find it in your chamber and not know who left it there? There, wheresoever you had it. I'll take no work on't.
How now, my sweet Bianca, how now?
And you'll come to supper tonight, you may. And you will not come when you are next prepared for.
Bianca turns and exits.
After her.
Faith, I must, else she'll rail in the streets.
Will you sup there?
Faith, I intend so.
Go to, say no more.
Cassio exits running. Othello emerges.
Did you perceive how he laughed at his vice? And did you see the handkerchief? And to see how he prizes the foolish woman, your wife. She gave it him, and he hath given it his whore.
Othello finds a seat and sits.
My heart is turned to stone. I strike it, and it hurts my hand. The world hath not a sweeter creature. She might lie by an emperor's side and command him tasks.
Nay, that's not your way.
So delicate with her needle and admirable musician. Oh, she will sing the savageness out of a bear. Of so high and plenteous wit and invention.
She's the worst for all this.
Gentle a condition.
I too gentle.
But yet the pity of it, Iago. Oh, Iago, the pity of it, Iago.
If you are so fond over her iniquity, give her patent to offend, for if it touch not you, it comes near nobody.
Get me some poison, Iago, this night. I'll not expostulate with her, lest her body and beauty unprovide my mind again. Cuckold me with mine officer. This night, Iago.
Do it not with poison. Strangle her in her bed, even the bed that she hath contaminated. And for Cassio, let me be his undertaker. You shall hear more by midnight.
The trumpet sounds.
What trumpet is that saying?
I warrant something of Venice. 'Tis Roderigo, this comes from the Duke. See, your wife is with him.
God save you, worthy general.
With all my heart, sir.
The Duke and senators of Venice greet you.
Roderigo proffers a letter. Othello takes and kisses the letter.
I kiss the instrument of their pleasures.
He opens the letter and walks apart to read.
What's the news with you, good cousin?
I'm very glad to see you, Signor. Welcome to Cyprus.
Thank you. How does Lieutenant Cassio?
Cousin, there's fallen between him and my lord an unkind breach. But you shall make all well.
Are you sure of that?
My lord.
He did not call. He's busy in the paper. Is there division twixt him and Cassio?
A most unhappy one. I would do much to atone them for the love I bear to Cassio.
Fire and brimstone.
My lord.
Are you wise?
What, is he angry?
Maybe the letter moved him, for as I think, they do command him home, deputing Cassio in his government.
By my troth, I am glad on't.
Othello drops the letter and turns on her.
Indeed.
My lord?
I am glad?
Why, sweet Othello?
Othello slaps Desdemona with the force of the slap that he gave Iago. It knocks her off her feet. All present are stunned.
I have not deserved this.
My lord, this would not be believed in Venice, though I should swear I saw it. 'Tis very much. Make her amends, she weeps.
If that the earth could teem with women's tears, each drop she falls would prove a crocodile. Out of my sight.
I will not stay to offend you.
Truly an obedient lady, I do beseech your lordship, call her back.
Mistress!
My lord?
What would you with her, sir?
Aye, my lord.
Ah, you did wish that I would make her turn. Sir, she can turn. And yet go on. And turn again.
He spins her about roughly by the arm. Roderigo intervenes.
And she can weep, sir. Weep! And she's obedient, as you say, obedient, very obedient. Proceed you in your tears.
Othello goes and retrieves the letter on the ground where he had dropped it.
Concerning this, sir, no well-painted passion, I am commanded home. Get you away. I'll send for you anon. Sir, I obey the mandate and will return to Venice. Hence, avaunt!
Desdemona, who's been standing awestruck by Othello's behavior, turns and exits.
Cassio shall have my place, and sir, tonight I do entreat that we may sup together. You are welcome, sir, to Cyprus.
Othello exits.
Is this the noble Moor whom our full senate call all in all sufficient? This the nature whom passion could not shake? Whose solid virtue the shot of accident nor dart of chance could neither graze nor pierce?
He is much changed.
Are his wits safe? Is he not light of brain?
He's that he is.
Let's strike his wife.
Faith, that was not so well. Yet would I knew that stroke would prove the worst.
Is it his use? Or did the letters work upon his blood and new create this fault?
It is not honesty in me to speak what I have seen and known. You shall observe him, and his own courses will denote him so that I may save my speech. Do but go after and mark how he continues.
Roderigo turns and exits with attendants quickly. Iago exits slowly in the same direction. Othello and Desdemona's bedchamber. It is about 5 p.m. Othello and Emelia are discovered in conversation.
You have seen nothing, then?
Nor ever heard, nor ever did suspect.
Yes, you have seen Cassio and she together.
But then I saw no harm, and then I heard each syllable that breath made up between them.
What, did they never whisper?
Never, my lord.
Nor send you out of the way?
Never.
To fetch her fan, her gloves, nor nothing?
Never, my lord. I durst, my lord, to wager she is honest. Lay down my soul at stake. If you think other, remove your thought. It doth abuse your bosom. If any wretch hath put this in your head, let heaven requite it with the serpent's curse. For if she be not honest, chaste, and true, there's no man happy. The purest of their wives is foul as slander.
Bid her come hither. Go.
Emelia bows and exits.
She says enough, yet she's a simple bawd that cannot say as much. This is a subtle whore.
Desdemona enters with Emelia.
My lord, what is your will?
Pray you, come hither.
What is your pleasure?
Let me see your eyes.
Othello takes her face in his hand. He could not possibly miss the bruise that he's made on her jawline. Desdemona is anything but certain that he won't strike her again.
What horrible fancy is this?
Some of your function, mistress. Leave procreants alone and shut the door. Cough or cry him if anybody come. Your mystery. Your mystery. Nay, dispatch.
Emelia bows again and reluctantly exits. Desdemona and Othello stand facing each other down in silence. Desdemona drops to her knees.
Upon my knees, what doth your speech import? I understand a fury in your words, but not the words.
What art thou?
Your wife. My lord, your true and loyal wife.
Come, swear it. Damn thyself. Swear thou art honest.
Heaven doth truly know it.
Heaven truly knows thou art false as hell.
To whom, my lord? With whom? How am I false?
Ah, Desdemona, away. Away, away.
Alas, the heavy day. Why do you weep? Am I the motive of these tears? My lord, if haply you, my father, do suspect an instrument of this, your calling back, lay not your blame on me. If you have lost him, why, I have lost him too.
Had it pleased heaven to try me with affliction, had they rained all kinds of sores and shames on my bare head, steeped me in poverty to the very lips, given to captivity me and my utmost hopes, I should have found in some place of my soul a drop of patience. But alas, to make me a fixed figure for the time of scorn, to point his slow, unmoving finger at, yet, could I bear that too? Well, very well, but here. Oh. Where I have garnered up my heart, where either I must live or bear no life, the fountain from which my current runs or else dries up, to be discarded thence? Or keep it as a cistern for foul toads to not engender in?
Alas! What ignorant sin have I committed?
Was this fair paper, this most goodly book, made to write whore upon? What committed? Committed, O thou public commoner, I should make very forges of my cheeks that would to cinders burn up modesty, but did I but speak thy deeds, what committed? Heaven stops the nose at it, and the moon winks. The body wind that kisses all it meets is hushed within the hollow mine of earth, and will not hear it. What committed? Impudent strumpet?
By heaven, you do me wrong.
Are you not a strumpet?
No, as I am a Christian. If to preserve this vessel for my lord from any other foul, unlawful touch be not to be a strumpet, I am none.
What, not a whore?
No, as I shall be saved.
It's possible.
Heaven, forgive us.
I cry you mercy then. I took you for that cunning whore of Venice that married with Othello.
Are we ending there? Yeah. We decided to stop there. Maybe wasn't the best place to stop.
I think it wasn't. Yeah, this is a good place to stop.
There was no good place to stop. I just thank you everyone for coming, and if you are able to access that QR code, that would be wonderful. Thank you to everyone who read today and yesterday. And Keith and everybody. Do you want to say a few?
Not really.
Okay. Well, this is obviously unfinished. The unfinished Untitled Othello.
I think I sort of forgot to name Dr. Bryan at the top, but just very quickly, when I first came to the college talking about this work, I went into a boardroom with Dr. Bryan. She had set up like a PowerPoint with the website up there already. I mean, we had one conversation, and you know, brought in Professor Sinclair and Mark Beakey, and you know, I don't think we were in there 10 minutes before the representatives of the department and hence the larger university said, let's do this. And it's been extremely fruitful for us, and we hope it continues to be. So I just wanted to thank you. That's all. You know, that's you get stuck in the background and people forget to go out and thank you. You know? Yes, Keith Z, our sound engineer. I'm not going to try and pronounce the Eastern European name.
Easier than it sounds. Thanks.
I was.